Wondering what to do in your business right now in this current market environment? I've got the answers from Gino Blefari, the #1 most influential person according to Swanepoel for 2022 and heading into 2023. Gino's going to share with us exactly what he's done in the past and what you can do right now to take your business to the next level. All right, today I am joined by the #1 most influential person in real estate, according to Swanepoel for the past year, Gino Blefari. And Gino, listen, this is something where I just think this is the timeliness of us talking right now is extremely important. As a person who's been in real estate for 29 years, this is not uncommon to see what we're seeing in the marketplace, but there are certain things that we can really begin to focus on right now that will pay benefits now and into the future. So what I'd love for you to do is kind of tell us where we've been. We'll talk about where we are and maybe where we're headed if you don't mind. So what have we seen over the last year, couple years?
The last couple of years, well, probably, I guess we got to talk about COVID, right? You know, and COVID had a huge impact in a positive way on real estate. I can remember when we first got the shutdown and we thought, oh my gosh, real estate's not an essential business, and then it became an essential business. You got people working from home. I always like to say, you working from home? No, I'm sleeping at work, right? You know, but what happened there was, you know, all sorts of great things for real estate. #1, the government printed up $6 trillion.
Right.
Okay, so more was printed, Jimmy, in June of 2020 than we had printed in the whole history of the United States, right? $4 trillion of that went into stimulus checks, but we are all hunkered down. Okay, so lots of things got overinflated, right? Because there was plenty of money out there, and we had basically zero interest rates, right? So you saw what happened with the market. It seemed like anything you bought went up in value, right? No matter what, you could buy a used car, it went up in value, let alone houses and things like that. So we had a great housing market. We probably, you know, went on a pace of about 6.8 million sales when we had been at 5.2 for the last 20 years. So it was a great time for real estate.
Right.
Zero interest rates, people working from home, people being able to move to where their second homes would become their workplace. It was a great time for real estate. We used to think interest rates at 5% were great, right? But we got under 3.
Right.
You know, so we had quite a run up in real estate.
That's exactly right. And that kind of leads us into kind of where we are now. And I think really where we are now may have started, depending on the market, people are in 6-9 months ago. So do you want to talk about kind of what's brought us to where we are right now in the last maybe immediate past and where we find ourselves right now?
Yeah, you know, the faucet of money got shut off, right? Interest rates rose quicker than they have ever risen. Right, we got up to about 7.09% was kind of like the peak, right?
Yeah.
And that went back in like November or something like that there, right? So of course, you know, sales go off. Now also, you've got you know, different threats. You've got someone that has a 2.5% or 3% mortgage. They're not going to move and get a 7% mortgage, right? So you had that issue there, even though we have a ton of first-time home buyers and things like that are out there. So it became a time where it just kind of like natural, the market slowed down. I mean, if you had to move, then you moved, but people didn't. And you saw how far nationally, you know, home sales were off. You know, 30, 40, 50%, right?
Yeah, and I know we've talked about this where, you know, sometimes we don't know what the depth or duration of this, where we are in the cycle is right now, but we do know things always change. You want to talk about it. You've talked to me in the past about how you can compare economic cycles to seasons. You want to speak a little bit about that?
Yeah, so winter, right? We're in the winter, but, you know, after the winter is always the spring. And Og Mandino had a great line where he always would say, "This too shall pass."
Right.
So when we were, you know, just killing it the last couple of years, right? Still knowing this too shall pass, right? Now we're in the winter season, and but spring follows winter, and this too shall pass. And just this week, the unemployment numbers came out, right? Lowest unemployment rate since 1969. Now, what does real estate love? We love jobs and we love low interest rates, okay? fourth week in a row, interest rates came down. So if you look at that 7.09, the very top when we were at, now we're at about 6.09, so a full percentage point underneath that, right?
Yeah.
Which is huge for real estate, right?
Yeah. What kind of difference does that make? I mean, when we have a 1% move, roughly, in the interest rates, what does that look like?
A 1% move in the interest rates typically will bring 3 million more buyers in, okay? Potential to buy. A median price, 400,000. We'll have like 3 million more potential buyers.
That can actually qualify for that
can
loan.
actually qualify for that medium priced loan.
Yeah, and here we are. I mean, we've had that move, so we're moving in the right direction.
We're totally moving in the right direction now. Okay?
Yeah. All right, so finding ourselves where we are in the market right now, that gives us really the ability to kind of see, okay, well, there will be somebody who will have their best year. I mean, in reality, there are going to be certain people that are going to thrive in this environment, not just survive. So let's talk about some of those things. What are some of the keys that you would say to the agent out there that is trying to identify exactly what they should do right now?
Right now? Okay, well, and all the time, but especially right now, you got to stand guard at the door of your mind. So your mindset, you want to have a strong mindset, okay? And so that means you don't want to be turning on the news and paying attention to everything that's going on.
Right.
There's an old saying, hey, there's a real estate recession going on, but I'm going to choose not to participate. Right. That's kind of the attitude that a realtor needs to take right now. You got to have a strong mindset. Number 2 would be to follow your schedule. Right? Never make a commitment of your time without checking your schedule, and make sure you put all those right things in your schedule. Stuff for yourself first and everybody else after. So what's the first thing that's going to go into your schedule? Some sort of meditation and getting your mind in the right state, okay? And then some sort of physical workout to release the endorphins and make you feeling good. Right? So then you can come, you're going to come in, you show up to work, you're feeling good, you're looking good, and you feel like you ought to be in Hollywood,
That's right, exactly. I know.
In fact, that was a little affirmation. Feeling good, looking good, ought to be in Hollywood.
That's right, yeah.
Just, kind of like have that right mindset.
Yeah. You've always talked about the meds. You want to break that down a little bit for everybody? Because I think that's a great way to start.
Yeah, I always say, we always start out with my meds, an acronym for meditation, exercise, diet, and sleep. I call those keystone habits that create small wins. So first one is M, stands for meditation. Right. Meditation or prayer, whatever you have for that. So you got to have that meditation piece. That's M. E, exercise, which we kind of talked about that. D, diet, right? You got to kind of like watch what you eat, because that can kind of like have a huge impact on you. And then S stands for sleep. And it's kind of interesting because people really underestimate that value of sleep. So maybe during a downward moving market, you got to make sure you get your sleep in too, because it's such a healing process for you. So yeah, meditation, exercise, diet, sleep. Those are those keystone habits that create these little small wins. And once you have a small win, it builds upon another small win and another small win. And then pretty soon you can do some big things.
Yeah, this is really good. That gets yourself. So get yourself right first. And then let's talk about some specific strategies, maybe things you've done in the past. I mean, obviously you've been through a few of these, different cycles throughout your career. Maybe you can give some personal examples and some things other people should do.
I was thinking, I remember in 1991, that recession down in 1991, and it was real. You told people you were in real estate, and they're like, "Are you okay? You okay?" And it was like, "Yeah, of course I'm okay." One of the things that I did in the downward moving market, because you always have an influx of people coming in our business and people going out of our business. But many times when the market gets tough like this, you got a lot of them going out of the business. Well, I was always the guy that helped the new people and people getting in the business. And so what I did was I farmed people that were getting out of the business. Okay? Now here's Jimmy Burgess, and he's a great guy, but he's not going to be able, in a downward market, do enough business to sustain himself, right? So I get with Jimmy, we have coffee, I get him a little name tag, I get him a license plate frame, I get him an Intero hat or whatever company that was, and say, Jimmy, let's go to your database and let's call your database and let them know that you are still part of the business, but you're doing your business through me, right? Through Gino. And it's be crazy because a lot of times they're almost more aggressive with their customers about talking about me than they were about their own self. Right? You know, and that was I had a handful of them. I had probably 20 extra deals, right?
Jeez,
had like 10 people that got out of the business. They could maybe do 1 or 2 deals, but they found out that they were better selling me than they were selling themselves because I already had the track record.
Right, yeah, and just paid them a referral.
Just paid them a referral fee. Yeah,
a lot of cases.
Absolutely.
So, I've actually seen that where we had one agent that got out of the business, had someone, like you say, they had more confidence in that person to help their clients than they had in themselves.
Right.
And they ended up making a little more than they did the previous year in the referrals the year that they got out of the business.
That's amazing.
And so I think that's a great place to start. Some other things as far as, focus in, because obviously that you can do strategically right now.
Yeah, there's all sorts of, everybody has strategy, okay? Every team has strategy, every company has strategy. They all struggle with execution.
Right.
It's always about what are the strategy, what's that strategy, what's that strategy? Man, I don't care if you call it your client base or your database. If you don't contact it, it doesn't matter, right? So I would say, the main key, if I was an agent in this market, after mindset, your ability to follow your schedule is going to have the biggest impact on whether you're successful or not in this business. Now, you've got to put stuff in your schedule, okay, that's going to help you. For example, contacting all of your clients, right? Your previous clients, people you've done business with, people in your center of influence. That's just got to go in that schedule, and you've got to do it.
Right.
And it's simple as that. Now, we got, maybe for sale by owners. Maybe in this market you got expireds. My point is you put whatever it is you do, there's 27 ways to get a deal in real estate, and whatever is great for you to do, that's what you do, but you put it in your schedule.
Yeah, you taught me this a number of years ago, and we try to do this with all of our agents now, where it is literally going back and looking at the transactions that these agents have had in the last 3 years. Go back and make a list of that, where those people, where that lead came from initially, or that relationship came from. Identify those things, and now what we're seeing, because of your leadership on this, is seeing exactly what it is that these agents are best at. And a lot of times they don't even realize it. Hey, 60% of your business is coming from your sphere of influence, but you're spending all this money on online leads. It doesn't, and the second that they can get focused on that, so it is that refinement process right now.
It is, and I don't think there's a wrong way to do it. I know some people won't hold an open house, but then other people, they'll hold. Andy C. gets most of his business from holding open houses.
Right, still to this day.
Still to this day. Now, he does more open houses than anybody. He might have 8 of them that he stops by on the weekend.
Right.
Okay?
Yeah.
So, it's, I always get, so what's, here your question would be, Gino, what's working for your agents right now? You know what's working for agents right now? When they work. They don't work, it doesn't work.
That's exactly
But if they
right.
work, it works, right?
Yeah, this is a professional and a workers market. This is literally the time when we'll see a separation of the wheat and chaff, so to speak, I guess you could say, and so this is in reality, if you're a professional agent, get excited. This is your market right here to really make some difference.
Just know that you've got to work.
That's it.
You just have got to look at the Forbes 400, the richest people, right? They didn't win a beauty contest, right?
Right.
They worked.
That's
they
right.
outworked everybody.
Yeah.
And that's kind of what it takes.
Yeah.
It is like, there's this magic thing. Or if I say I'm successful, say this affirmation over and over and over again. That's got to do it either.
Right.
You got to work.
Right. So you got to get yourself right. You got to put in the work. And then, what about the future, preparing for the future? A lot of times in winter we'll prepare for what's to come, that spring you talked about. What are some of the things that agents can be doing now to really set themselves up for not if, but when this market turns back, where they're positioned to take full advantage of it.
Yeah, well, they got to make sure that they're not a secret agent.
That's right.
Right? Make sure they're not a secret agent. Make sure that they are contacting their database,
Right.
okay, their base of customers, whether it be meeting them. One of the greatest things you can do is get face-to-face with your customers and then to meet them for coffee and just become their friend. And those 18 connecting questions, which I know whoever needs them can get them from you.
Yeah.
You've got those questions where you're just meeting with people, and that law of reciprocity makes them want to do the same thing for you. So that's just a huge thing. So that simple as a handwritten note back is huge. Being out there, going to all the knowing agents, not only in your market, the top agents, but agents in other markets, and saying, hey, I pay a referral fee.
Yeah.
And you get a referral fee. You're gonna maybe pay a little bit more than that next person, right?
Yeah.
But you get that referral, Jimmy, and then that person that comes in becomes a client, and they give you a referral, and they have to move again. There's just many good things that can come out of that.
Yeah, it just keeps compounding over time.
Compounding, yeah.
So in reality, as we're wrapping this up, it's get yourself right first.
Yeah,
It's hard
get
to do
yourself
anything.
right first.
Yeah, and then it's go ahead and do the work and prepare through those relationships. Build those relationships, deepen those relationships.
Yeah, and I guess maybe I would say too, continue to work on your skills.
Right.
You got to know your market.
Right.
Right. You got to have those skills, negotiating skills. You just got to be very good at your craft.
Yeah, absolutely. This has been good stuff. Listen, I know if you're out there, you're looking for, what am I going to do right now? You just got the path to do that. So go out there, get yourself right, do the work, prepare for the future, be the best possible agent in your area, and I promise success will follow. Hope this has been helpful, and we'll talk to you guys soon. Thanks for watching the video. I specifically chose the video below for you because it builds on the one you just watched. I hope it's helpful, and I'll talk to you soon.